Hey everybody, it's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. A lot to talk about today because we've got a big storm system heading our way Christmas Eve, and there's a lot of things that are going to happen between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Let's show you the system. It's just organizing now, and oh, by the way, it's creating blizzard-like conditions in the Dakotas up into the upper Midwest. But we're going to see the tail end of this, the southern part of this, which is going to have rain, wind, possibly severe storms for parts of the area, especially eastern North Carolina. And yes, some snow for the North Carolina mountains, maybe even the foothills. Small chance we could see some flurries, even Christmas morning east of the mountains. We'll talk about that. Obviously not a white Christmas, but the fact that we even have a chance is kind of cool that we could see some snow. But here's the first threat. This is the severe weather risk for tomorrow, Christmas Eve. You can see the low end risk in yellow, the medium risk out here in the orange. And the orange area is really the area I'm watching. If we're going to see a tornado threat, I've had a lot of questions about a tornado threat. It's a non-zero threat in here, but out here, it's probably a 5% probability of a tornado within 25 miles of any point on the map. So that's the area we're going to watch for tomorrow. Now, the good news is the western part of the state, the timing looks like it's going to be in our favor, but I still think we're going to see some really strong storms moving here. So let's take a look at the futurecast. All right, so let's look at this futurecast. I'll take my glasses off here so I can see close up a little bit better here. But you can see as we go through time, and then again, notice up here is the time frame for the model guidance you're looking at. This is our short range, high resolution NAM3 that we look at. Now, one of the things to notice before we even get into severe weather, we're going to see some very heavy rain. This looks to be a really heavy rain event starting really early tomorrow morning. Notice the time frame, 3-4 in the morning. So this will be more showery kind of rain stuff. The storminess or the heaviest rain is going to be with the main frontal band. So I'm going to stop this at about 7 to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So notice right away we've got some rain across the area, but look at this band of heavy rain back to the west. We'll go into the middle of the day, Christmas Eve. So this is around noon. Real heavy rain. Remember, we're going to have strong winds coming from the south. So that will enhance the rainfall. So some areas east of the mountains and those eastern and southeastern facing slopes could end up with some really good rainfall totals of 2, 3, 4 inches, even a borderline flash flood threat with all this. As we go through time, the main band, middle of the afternoon, you see the heavy rain band. Now, because it's been raining most of the day here, we're probably not going to see a huge severe weather risk because we won't have the instability. But notice what's going on out here in eastern North Carolina. There was the possibility of getting some warm, humid air in here. So that's why you're seeing that higher risk of severe weather east out towards the coast. And you can see the cells out there just look different. Those look more like severe storms. This looks like heavy rain and a lot of wind. Notice the snow starts moving into the mountains tomorrow night after sunset. And it really picks up. That it's going to go from rain to heavy snow fairly quickly on Christmas Eve. Now, as we go into Christmas Day, the system begins to push east. Notice no snow east of the mountains. But what happens on Christmas morning, and I'm going to stop this around 7 o'clock in the morning, on the back side of the front, I'll widen this out, we've got what's called a vorticity maximum. It's going to swing in here. These vorticity maxims are basically little spins in the jet stream. There are little disturbances. We sometimes refer to them as short waves or vortmaxes. You might hear that term sometimes. But what it does occasionally, especially in the cold air, it enhances the northwest flow of snow in the mountains, so you get really big snow squalls. But occasionally what happens is some of the snow bands can do what we call breaking containment. They can make it east of the mountains. So when I look at this, it doesn't look like a much, but tomorrow during, Christmas Day, maybe a snow shower or a brief rain or graupel shower, something makes it east of the mountains. Again, it wouldn't accumulate, folks. This isn't going to be any kind of white Christmas setup, but I would not be shocked on Christmas Day that there's a flurry or two that makes it east of the mountains. But in the mountains, that's where all the action is. And again, let me back this up. We'll play this again real quickly just to show you how this unfolds. I'm going to stop it right here because there's going to be some really strong winds in here as well. So real quickly, what you're looking at are low-level wind gusts. So this is going into tomorrow afternoon around 10:30. So let's go through time. And you can see as the front approaches tomorrow, really strong winds in here. Just to show you how strong, these are wind gusts, by the way, not sustained winds. There's going to be some 30, 40, and up in the mountains, 50, 60 mile-an-hour winds. So we're going to see wind advisories and some high wind warnings possibly up in the North Carolina mountains. So you can see how strong the winds are. I mean, right here, as the front's crossing over Charlotte, there's actually the models indicating winds could be 40, 50 miles an hour. So we might not even need severe weather to get some tree branches or maybe some trees coming down, especially with the saturated soils. And then it moves through fairly quickly. The winds will be howling behind the system, but this time they're coming straight out of the northwest and producing, some gusty winds as well. But this is the cold wind moving in behind the front. So let's talk about the amount of rain real quickly, just to show you. This is the 48-hour precipitation forecast. And you can see, especially those eastern and southeastern facing slopes, that red area, you're looking in that 2 to 3 inch range. Across the Piedmont, you see the numbers anywhere from 1 to 2 inches possible as the system moves through the area. So yeah, potentially looking at some pretty good rain with this and that severe weather risk as it moves through the area. And again, the greatest concern for severe storms is going to be out here to the east. So these areas in eastern North Carolina where, we had that threat for damaging winds and possible tornadoes. And I'll show you that one more time just to reiterate. This is the area we're concerned about, the area in orange and yellow where we could see that severe weather risk. So let's get into the fun stuff. How much snow are we going to see? Well, here's the temperatures going into tomorrow, or today, excuse me. Here's the temperatures tomorrow. You can see how warm it's going to be ahead of it. But let's look at the high temperatures on Christmas Day. Really cold air. I mean, this could be the coldest Christmas since about 2004 in our area. So you're seeing a lot of 30s for high. So a very cold day. Snowfall wise, who wants to see a white Christmas? This is where you want to go, folks. North Carolina mountains, almost a guarantee we're going to see a white Christmas for most of our mountain communities, especially above 3,500 feet. You can see even around Hickory, some of the mountains, South Mountain State Park, even some flurries, maybe Wilkesboro, the chance for some snow showers. And again, this will be Christmas morning, 7 a.m. Up in West Virginia, that's where we're really seeing the high chance for some heavy, heavy snow. In fact, if I go back here, I'm going to turn this off. I'll turn the advisories on. And I'll show you where we do have some winter storm watches already up. And I would expect winter storm watches will be issued later today for the North Carolina mountains. So you see this area right here in kind of that kind of, I don't even know what I would call that. Basically kind of like a light blue. That's a winter storm watch is in effect. You see the high wind warning already up for the mountains, and we've got some wind advisories down here. Expect to see these winter storm watches extended down into this area. So the cool thing is, the mountains are going to have a white Christmas. It's going to be gorgeous up there. So if you want to head up there, I would head up to areas like Beech Mountain, Blowing Rock, might have a little bit of snow, but the deeper you get into the mountains, the closer to the Tennessee line, certainly the area that potentially will have a white Christmas. But this is what it should look like on Christmas morning. Really great white Christmas, eastern Tennessee, into eastern parts of Kentucky, up into West Virginia, western West Virginia, and then obviously the mountains of North Carolina. Of course, I will be doing updates tonight. The biggest story for me is the severe weather risk. If you live east of I-77, just to be on the safe side, get your WCNC Charlotte weather app and get those alerts turned on, because the severe weather risk is probably the biggest story for anybody east of the mountains. For the mountains, it's definitely about the cold and snow that will arrive just in time for Christmas. I will do another update on Christmas Eve as we're tracking all this. Until then, have a great day, be safe, and be weather aware.